This is a president that is fixing his country, and many people do not like him. Many who are not favored by his policies do not like him. I don't care what anybody thinks about this man, but I think he's a gift to the United States. Truth be told, he is fixing his country. It reminds me of when Governor Fayose, no Fayose. Why am I forgetting this now? The governor of Lagos State, the former governor of Lagos State, Babatunde Fashola. Hey God, just the other day. Okay, so it reminds me when Babatunde, Governor Babatunde Fashola, the former governor of Lagos State, was fixing Lagos. If I were not in Lagos, for a long time, I knew what I went through and knew how people just spoiled Lagos, I wouldn't have appreciated what he was doing. So President Trump is fixing his country. I see a lot of people in the comment section. Let's watch together this great speech that he delivered on giving account of what's happening in his country.
Hold it up. You deserve it more than me. And the job they've done on the border is unthinkable. What they left us with, that they would have open borders with millions of people, 25 million people, probably more than that, pouring into our border, totally unchecked and unvetted. Now we have the opposite. And we want people in our country, but they have to come in legally. And they know that, and they know they're not getting through, so now they don't even try. So all of the death that Tom Holman talked about, the rape and the death and all the problem doesn't really happen because the caravans, a name I think I came up with, maybe not, but the caravans are very small. In fact, for the most part, they don't even exist anymore because they know they're not going to get through. In a little while, you'll be seeing, I'm suing the BBC for putting words in my mouth, literally, they put words in my mouth. They had me saying things that I never said coming out. I guess they used AI or something. That one. They actually put terrible words in my mouth having to do with January 6th that I didn't say. And the beautiful words that I said, right? The beautiful words. Talking about patriotism and all of the good things that I said, they didn't say that, but they put terrible words. They actually have me speaking with words that I never said. And they got caught because I believe somebody at BBC said, this is so bad, it has to be reported. That's called fake news. So we'll be filing that suit probably this afternoon or tomorrow morning. I want to thank all of you for being here. If you have any questions, I guess you could ask, but this is really a day of celebration for these people. The job they've done is really unprecedented. So go ahead.
On Brown University, Mr. President, do you know what the motive of the shooter was? Was it a targeted attack?
That's moving along now, and we don't. And we're going to see what happens. Hopefully, they're going to capture this animal. Hopefully, they're going to capture.
Has Kash Patel told you why it's been so difficult for the FBI to identify who the shooter is?
Well, it's always difficult. So far, we've done a very good job of doing it. With Charlie, with the various times this has happened, they've done it in pretty much record time. But you really have to ask the school a little bit more about that because this was a school problem. They had their own guards, they had their own police, they had their own everything. But you'd have to ask that question really to the school, not to the FBI. We came in after the fact, and the FBI will do.
So I see some people in the comment section, so many people are saying what they like, but I'd like to point out somebody's comments here. And the person said, I've been here since childhood. That he has been or she has been living in America since childhood. And he says, you are the only president I see live and not a recording. Like he comes and he says things, and then people are also, I wanted to know who your Trump is not scared. He's not scared of anybody. And you see, people are saying carry go, need office. Some people unfortunately, so many comments here are just very very funny. But someone just made a remark or highlighted something, say check the location of these people, where they are actually based. Are they Americans? Are they Americans? All I know is that, anything that happens in this world, or when I see things happen, first of all, I'll put myself in that person's shoe. Understanding the context and the situation will help you. If you have been in America before, like say you were in the US in the 80s and the 70s, or even the early in late 90s or early 2000s, if you've been in America there, you were in America and you are now in America, you'll be in a better situation to appreciate what this man is doing. I am not in America, I'm not an American citizen, but I dare to look at him and compare with what is happening in my country or what I've experienced. Okay, I remember, I can never forget this story. This experience in a hurry, the experience I had in Lagos. If you know Lagos very well, if you are in Nigeria and you are a Lagosian, you know Lagos very well. You know those days. Okay, let me just use an example of when Governor Babatunde Fashola deported so many beggars. It was funny that time. He deported a lot of beggars, and people were shouting, "It's not the same Nigeria. Why are you deporting them?" and all that. So this man came, and if you know how it was that time, what the beggars, the nuisance, sorry to use that word, they were causing in traffic. When you're trying to even drive, you see them in line in between the traffic, because they are begging, they sit everywhere, and when the governor came, he tried to make provision for them. He built a charity home where they should stay, and it was like they should stay there. People, if you want to give beggars something, you go there, and the state government will be providing for them. But you know what? These people did not want that, because maybe what they get on the street will be far more than what the government will be giving them. So they didn't want that. At a time, Lagos State government decided to send them away. Now, when he was sanitizing Lagos, when Fashola was sanitizing Lagos, we know the outcry. So many people were crying out that is a government of the elite. He wants to send some people away. He wants to take away their means of livelihood. But I know what I used to go through driving through the roads, or the Lagos roads, going to work. I know, because there was so much lawlessness, no traffic law. People do not obey traffic law. They drive anyhow. So when he decided, in Oshodi, for example, you see people that they sell even on Oshodi Bridge. They're supposed to, ease traffic. They sell on the bridge, they sell under the bridge, they sell everywhere. They sell on pedestrian pathway, they sell everywhere, became shop. So when this man came, if you were in Lagos, there was a time you cannot even drive from Bolade Oshodi down to Oshodi, okay? You can't drive. Nobody drives. I know what I went through. Driving from Oshodi, Sale, just for you to cross Oshodi, Sale and enter Ilupeju. You don't. Those days now, people suffered. So when this man came and decided to sanitize Lagos, because he was in Lagos, he actually grew up in Lagos, and he knew the Lagos that he met while he was growing up, and he decided to sanitize Lagos. And also there were so many people against him, sabotaging what he was doing, calling him all kinds of bad names. But at the end of the day, I was still in Lagos when this man, now the work was done. And God, I know when I drive through, I'll be like, so Lagos can be like this. When people come and say, there was so much traffic in Lagos, after that, I say, you don't even know Lagos before now. So I understand what this man is doing. You may not like him because the immigration policy will not favor you. Why don't we actually fix our country? Now he has actually like banned Nigerians from going to the US for anything because they want. It's so funny. It's so funny. It's so many people are not happy about that, but that's their country. The best we can do is to fix our own country. You see the US that you know before. Look at how they have allowed so many people to come into the US to the extent obodo ibo that you know abroad. You know that if you are practicing your religion, you have to practice it like we were meant to believe that you don't tell anybody about God, that your religion is within you. But today we see what is happening in New York, what's happening everywhere. We see it on the road every day. We see it now. What's happening? Okay, so if actually the man is fixing their country, I see people in the comment section here. So many people are not in support of what he's doing, but they won't understand. Okay, they won't understand. But then there are also some people that are also understand what he's doing and they appreciate it. Most Americans that are mature, most Americans that are patriotic, to understand what he's doing. Okay, so this is Donald Trump. Let's continue to listen, and I will leave you there. Maybe to see you again in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like, and also share. Okay.
Good job, but they came in after the fact. Don't do as well. And I'm going to try and get that changed for the midterms. But we did have a big win in Tennessee against a very strong candidate, attractive candidate, who a lot of people thought would do very well. And Matt won by a lot. And I won Tennessee by a real lot. You know, we had a great election. We won every single swing state. We won the popular vote. We won everything. And there's a thing that they have now, districts, which is a big deal. I think in a way it's the most important stat from the standpoint of, you know, looking at numbers accurately. So out of thousands of districts, I won 2,750 versus 525. Think of that, 2,750 versus 525. It was great. That's why the map, when you see a map of the election, it's all red other than two little narrow lines on the other side. Please.
Sir, Jimmy Lai was convicted today in Hong Kong. Do you have any reactions?
I feel so badly. I spoke to President Xi about it, and I asked to consider his release. He's not well. He's an older man, and he's not well. So I did put that request out. We'll see what happens. Okay? Yeah, please, Katie.
Question about Ukraine. Now that the meetings in Berlin have wrapped up with Zelensky, is there a timetable for going to Moscow? Is a delegation going?
Well, I think that the delegation is largely there right now, actually. They're in Europe, and they met with those people that I called out before, the various countries, plus some others. They want to see it end, Katie. They want to see it end. I want to see it end. They want to see it end. I actually think that President Putin wants to see it end. You know, I've had good talks. We've had good talks with Russia, and I think they'd like to get back to a more normal way of life.
Mr. President, follow up there. An Article 5 deal seems to be emerging without NATO membership for Ukraine. If such a security guarantee is offered, what incentive is there for Ukraine to give up any sort of territory?
Well, look, you have, they've already lost the territory, you know, to be honest. I mean, the territory is lost. But in terms of security guarantee, we're working with Europe on it. Europe would be a big part of that. And we're working on the security guarantee so the war doesn't start up again. We don't want to have a war start up again. You know, as I said, with Thailand and Cambodia, two people I get along with great. And I dealt with them, and I called them, and I said, look, fellas, you got to relax. You got to take it easy. They lost. You know, they started the war again, and I got it ended. And things like that are going to happen, war. There's nothing pretty about war, nothing good, and there's nothing you can do to predict what's going to happen. But I think we've made a lot of progress with respect to Russia and Ukraine. I hope. You know, last month, it was close to 27,000 soldiers were killed, mostly soldiers, but 27,000 people, but mostly soldiers were killed last month in Russia versus Ukraine.
Is there a time limit on security guarantees?
Well, there's no time limit. The time limit is whenever we get it done. I mean, we're going to try to get it done. We're making progress. It's more difficult than anybody could have thought. I would have said that half of the wars that I got settled, some were going for over 30 years, that half of them should have been more difficult, and they actually haven't been. There's a lot of dislike between the two leaders, you know that, and so it probably makes it a little bit tough.
Have you recently spoken directly to Putin? Have you recently spoken directly to Putin?
Yeah, I have.
On Syria, Mr. President, on the U.S. troops killed in Syria over the weekend, why do we have troops in Syria?
Because we're trying to make sure that there's going to be and remain peace in the Middle East, and Syria is a big part of it. The new leader is a strong person, and that's what you need. This is a rough part of the world, and it's been amazing what's taken place in Syria. We got rid of Assad, we got rid of other people that were really bad people and that were in the way of peace in the Middle East. You know, we have legitimate peace in the Middle East, first time in 3,000 years, and we have 59 countries backing it. And we'll see what happens with Hamas. We'll see what happens with Hezbollah, seemingly going well, but we've been saying that for a long time, and it's a difficult one. We had, as you know, settled 8 wars, and one was having a little problem yesterday, Thailand and Cambodia. We were able to straighten that out. There was some killing going on that shouldn't have happened, and we appreciate them working to get it straightened out, and they have. The security protocols yesterday were amazing, and they have been amazing, having to do with Russia and Ukraine. And I had a long talk with President Zelensky.
So, guys, let's continue. Let's continue to drop our opinion in the comment section. Please feel free to drop your opinion in the comment section, even if you don't agree with me. I think this man is trying his best to make sure that there is peace other places in the world, because one thing we have to understand is that if there's no peace in other places in the world, these Western worlds, the big countries like US, Canada, UK, they will not have peace. They will continue to have influx of immigrants. So yeah, so that's what it is. And they with their commitment to protection of people and property, they will continue to have refugees. And do you know how much it costs them to keep refugees in their country? So I think if a president is there to make peace, like let there be peace elsewhere, so that he will be at peace in the country, it makes sense. That's me. That's me. You have your own opinion, please, you can drop it in the comment section. Because I remember that in my country, we used to say that if you don't care about your neighbors, if you don't even care whether your neighbors' children go to school or all that, when they grow up and become nuisance, you won't have peace in that environment. If you're so self-centered, you don't want to know what's happening to other people's children or other people's families around you. So when you come and become the only rich person, it won't go well with you. So if that's what the president of America is trying to do, I think we should support him and pray that he succeeds to bring relative peace in other parts of the world. In Nigeria, for example, if our insecurity should be fixed, it will go a long way to reduce how many Nigerians want to japa. You know, many Nigerians, look at the weather here and everything, would like to stay back home. So you can imagine what that will do to the to immigration if Nigeria is fixed and people decide to stay at home. To go a long way. So let me leave it here. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget